Hello again, fellow BeachBum traders. Thank you for joining us for part one of our weekly trading game plan for the trading week of August 14th through August 18th, where we'll see if we're having a back-to-school sale in the stock market, and we'll talk about strategies, trade ideas on how we could take advantage of any back-to-school sale that may be occurring in the stock market right now or ongoing. So again, thank you for joining us for part one of our weekly trading game plan for the trading week of August 14th through August 18th, and let's get started. Good morning, Walter Lyons. Thank you for joining us. Hope you're doing well. So here's our Google document with our notes for part one of our weekly trading game plan for this week of August 14th through August 18th. We keep our notes in publicly accessible Google documents. You can find a direct link to this Google document in the description box below. Our notes Google documents contain links to bonus video, the tools and resources we use for our market analysis, strategies, etc. We keep our Google documents with our weekly trading game plan notes in a publicly accessible Google Drive folder. And you can also find a direct link to this Google Drive folder in the description box below, so you can refer back to the notes for this week as well as previous weeks. Welcome to Ricky Kahn. Thank you for joining us. Hope you're doing well. So first we'll take a look at how the markets ended up on Friday. Again, see if we're having a back-to-school sale in the markets. We see the Dow eked out a little bit of a gain. The NASDAQ and S&P, small loss. NASDAQ was down, over 1%, I believe, at one point. Rebounded slightly. We had more decliners than advancers, a little over 50% decliners, 40% advancers. Very few new highs, 30 to 70 new lows. We're about 50-50 above the 50-day moving average and a little above 50% above the 200-day. And we can see that with the rebound towards the end of the day, it's showing a little bit of a bullish indicator, although, generally the day was down. Again, the Dow did recover, in the afternoon for a small gain. So we see in the heat map, again, as of the end of the day, the mega cap techs, the FANGs look pretty flat. NVIDIA has been, declining significantly, probably a lot of profit taking in NVIDIA. I believe they have earnings coming up, and we'll see if we can see that on the earnings calendar. But probably, again, a lot of profit taking going into earnings, and we'll probably talk about that more relative to semiconductors. Healthcare was slightly positive, and we'll see other sectors that were positive when we look at the sectors and the groups. So we see a little bit of a bearish tendency. Molson Coors, Tilray buying a number of brands from Anheuser-Busch with some of the news. Hawaii wildfires, very sad. FTX news and stock market trouble in the options market. We'll talk about the options expiration coming up. We see crude oil had pushed up to high 83s, almost 84, declined back to 83. Natural gas we'll see is now bouncing between 275 and 3 or so. Gold broke down slightly below 1950, trying to regain that support level at 1950. So a little bit of resistance now at 1950. We saw the dollar strengthen. We'll talk about some of the economic news and the effects on the dollar as well as bonds. The dollar had strengthened some and then weakened towards the end of the day. Saw the treasuries, again, treasury yields surge up over 4%. So we can see the 5 years at 4.3, 30s at almost 4.3, the 10 years at almost 4.2. Still an inversion, but again, now we've seen that surges in the yields that we've kind of been predicting for quite some period of time. Welcome, Doug M. MD. Thank you for joining us. Glad to see you. Hope you all are doing well. So let's look at the indices. We'll look at the SPY. So as we were talking, trading in August, we'll reference those videos in a little bit. and the seasonality in August, but we saw this peak and downtrend in really all the indices. So we see the SPY broke down below the lower trend line. Looks like it's getting support from that longer term moving average. But again, the overall trend is now down as of August. Again, we'll talk about the seasonality a little in more detail when we get to our strategy section. So again, we see that peak down. Still got some significant room from the near-term moving average in the short term. So again, August, September, again, seasonality tend to be down. So we can expect, the tendency, the trend, the overall trend to be down, at least for, August, September. And then upswing again into the end of the month, October, November, December. So the Qs, the NASDAQ, getting a little more volatile, profit taking out of the FANGs, mega cap tech. So again, we see that downtrend, still significant room above the moving average. So again, tendency would be down, although again, we can see, relatively volatile corrections back to the upside. So be prepared for that as well. The Dow, getting a little more stable near its top. Again, still significant room above its moving average, but again, the Dow's been a little more stable. Industrials have been more stable, but again, the tendency is down, has a slightly downtrend, room above the moving averages. So again, the tendency is going to be down. IWM, again, more volatility in the Russell. Good morning, Born to be Free. Thank you for joining us. Hope you're doing well. So very similar in the Russell, peaked. Looks like it got resistance just below that previous top, rolled over, now downtrending. Again, plenty of room above the moving averages. So again, plenty of downside room in the Russell. And again, it's going to be more volatile than in the larger indices. VIX, we did see a little bit of a pop a couple times, broke above 16 or so. Yeah, just a little above 16. Got into the 18s at one point, but again, the VIX hasn't really been holding those pops. So on the economic data that we got out, and also some downgrades of regional banks, we saw some increase in volatility, but again, the volatility just isn't holding, and now it's back down, below 16. The future showing 15.30, and I think the current VIX is even below 15 right now. Okay, I see your note, Boren. I'll try to reply to you in the Discord when we finish up. Thank you for letting me know. So let's look at the groups, the sectors. So on Friday, the main positive, we got, healthcare, utilities, a little bit defensive. Energy had a surgence this week. So again, we saw oil pop up in the 83s, natural gas in the 270s. The weakest sectors, technology, consumer cyclical, basic materials a little mixed, real estate slightly positive. So for the week, again, the weakest sectors, technology, consumer cyclical, best sectors, energy, healthcare, some utilities. Again, real estate kind of in the middle. Again, industrials kind of stable. So for the months, again, the themes, energy, healthcare, utilities, you can see the sector rotation into utilities this week. Again, somewhat of a risk off. And again, technology has been negative for the entire month. Good morning, Flip of the Shippa. Thank you for joining us. Glad to see you as well. So industries, we see silver's making a rebound. We'll see that in the futures as well. Uranium's been strong. Gold's, again, turning back up. Weakest sectors, Semiconductors, so we'll see that when we look at the technology components of semiconductors. So semiconductors, copper, a little negative. Solar's been pretty negative recently. So again, even though the XLE, the energy sector in general, has been up, solar's been down. So for the week, oil, again, uranium's been strong. Had some volatility in biotechs. Again, semiconductors pretty negative. Copper, steel. Again, steel's been a rotation in and out. There's also some China news, some deflation in China, some issues in the real estate market. And again, that will hit some of your construction-related commodities like steel, etc. Again, for the month, uranium strong, oil and natural gas. Again, solar very negative for the month. So again, very negative sentiment. Solar, semiconductors. And again, we talked about the rebound in gold. Okay, so I'll bring up the economic calendar in investing.com. I'll talk about a couple of the highlights from the week, and then we'll look at what's upcoming in the next week as well. Just a quick reminder, as this economic data comes out, I try to post it as quickly. The important economic data from my perspective, I try to post it as quickly as possible in the Surf the Markets channel in our Discord. Our Discord's free to join. You can find an invite in the description box below. We'd encourage you all to join our free Discord, talk to other traders, help each other succeed in your trading, and also get economic data as quickly as I can post it in our Surf the Markets channel in our Discord. So let me grab a quick drink and we'll review some of the highlights of the economic data from last week. Okay, I didn't have much Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, then Thursday, Friday. Thursday, we got both the CPI data and the jobless claims data. So starting with the core or with the CPI data is pretty much as expected. Year on year for July was slightly below expectations. Core was in line. Year on year was slightly better than expectations. So again, we got a positive reaction out of the market on the core CPI, which is the consumer inflationary data, being a little better than expected. Continuing jobless claims dropped a little bit. So again, some people are able to find jobs. The initials was a little higher than expected. So we are seeing, more people getting laid off. But again, the continuing is dropping. So at least some of those people are able to find jobs. The average is pretty much in line. Real earnings was expected to drop. It was flat. So again, not a whole lot of wage inflation, but they're not seeing earnings coming down. So again, as we've been saying, the job market's pretty resilient. So the Fed doesn't have to really worry about the high unemployment, the job market, and in general in terms of rate hikes. And Friday, we got PPI, which is producer price inflation data. So the front end of the supply curve, and it was hotter than expected. And even with, X food and energy, so the increase in oil prices may have contributed slightly. Again, this is July. So July was a little higher than expected. Year on year is a little higher than expected, but flat from June. Again, X food and energy was flat. So the year on year is a little hotter than expected. So that was, viewed negatively by the market. Again, the front end of the inflation is hotter than expected. It's very persistent and will eventually translate into, most likely translate into CPI, into consumer price inflation. Then we got the Michigan sentiment data. So the 5-year inflation expectations was better than expected. The general expectations was a little weaker than expected, but overall sentiment was a little better than expected. Current conditions better, and inflation expectations for August dropped significantly. Normally, this Michigan consumer sentiment data doesn't really move the markets a whole lot, but we did see a positive market reaction that the consumer is, again, still strong. Sentiment's generally pretty good, and they're expecting inflation to continue to come down, which, is vote of confidence for the Fed. So let's look at any of the other data I might not have pointed out there, and then we'll look at what's coming up next week. I'll zoom this in a little bit. So again, we've got Fed speakers talking, so you'll hear their views on, when do they need to keep hiking. Everyone's saying, inflation's still too high. They've got more work to do. It's, exactly when they hike, how much, etc. is the debate in general. So we'll continue to get a little bit of volatility out of that, but again, I think the expectations are pretty set at this point. Wholesale inventories down a little bit. Oil stocks was the API. Oil stocks was up quite a bit, but again, it didn't significantly impact oil prices as the Saudis keep holding to their cuts and talking about potentially, further supply reductions. Mortgage rates, again, we saw the bond yields perk up over 4%. So now mortgage rates are up over 7%. So new home sales will impact. We see, again, crude oil inventories, very significant build. But again, oil prices keep going up. And we talked about CPI, we talked about jobless claims, natural gas storage was also up more than expected, but again, natural gas prices, the trend continues to be up. Talked about PPI and sentiment. Baker Hughes was stable, so we've seen the past couple weeks that the rig count had been decreasing. The total rig count decreased, but the oil rig count stable, so not cutting rigs at this point. So let's see what we've got coming up for next week. So we've got some consumer inflation expectations, retail sales. Again, we've talked about that July with Prime Day, some of the other sales. We might see a little better than better retail sales for July. Expectations slightly better for July. Housing data. Again, more Fed speakers. Typical oil, natural gas inventory. We've got mortgage rates building. So we'll hear, new home starts, and with the mortgage rates up over 7%, that we might see a surprise decline. FOMC meeting minutes come out on Wednesday. Again, we don't expect a whole lot of surprises, but people will probably be listening for any indication as to when the next rate hike may be, how many, etc. So keep an ear out for the FOMC meeting minutes. Again, that will probably be a focus and some volatility. Thursday, jobless claims, some Philly Fed data. and then Friday not much except for Baker Hughes, etc. So not a whole lot. The Fed minutes will probably be a focus, as well as the housing data, etc. So if we flip to the earnings calendar, we still got quite a few earnings. And as we've been saying, earnings matter. You can listen to our video on how to trade around earnings via the link in our notes. So again, you can scroll through this list of earnings. There's still quite a few. Banks, got some banks. Again, note the sector. Again, what we're seeing with earnings is people that beat the expectations are generally pretty high. So they're not necessarily as rewarded for beating as they're punished for missing. So any missing on earnings or reducing guidance, they're getting punished pretty severely. So listen, not just the headline EPS and revenue numbers, but also what's their guidance going forward for the rest of the year. Got some semiconductors. Let me see if I can find NVIDIA if they're reporting this week. So again, you can do a find on this sheet. Apparently it's not finding NVIDIA right now. So again, I would recommend, go through, okay, I might not have next week. Okay, let's get next week. So NVIDIA must not be next week yet. So Monday, we've got some software. So if anybody knows offhand NVIDIA's, we can look it up. I'll look it up in FinViz real quick. So if you're looking for the earnings date for a particular stock, so the 23rd aftermarket. So you can look them up in FinViz. You can also look them up in Webull and see if they had the next earnings date. So NVIDIA is the 23rd. So again, personal opinion, I think we'll potentially see some continued downside going into earnings. Their earnings, again, my personal opinion, not financial advice, but we're not financial advisors. Everything, all of our content's for education and entertainment purposes only. But I think we'll hear a lot of AI hype in NVIDIA's earnings call. They may be one that are actually making some money off the AI hype. So again, personally, I expect more downside in NVIDIA until we get into earnings and then probably a significant pop, but we'll see. So again, I'd recommend, going through the earnings. As you can see, we have a lot. Tupperware, bankrupt, etc. Quite a few biotechs, etc. So you can go through the list. Again, you can do a find for your particular stocks you're interested in. You can see what day they're reporting. And in Webull, in a minute, I'll show you a very near-term calendar on earnings as well. Again, earnings are very important right now. So again, they'll get punished if they miss or lower guidance. And the AI hype, how many times I say AI, might pump them up very temporarily. So I hope that all helps. Okay, we'll jump over to the market screen in Webull. Grab another quick drink a second, and we'll look at how the markets performed, what's best performing, etc. going forward. Just a quick reminder, if you're not already using Webull, they're offering a 5% interest on idle cash in your cash accounts, and also still offering 12 free stocks if you open and deposit any amount in the account. So again, we use Webull for market analysis, due diligence, the majority of our trading. And if you join Webull via our affiliate link in the description box below, you can also help support our channel. So if you're not already using Webull, again, it's we recommend the platform. We use the platform for a variety of market analysis, due diligence, and trading. So if we look at the advancers and decliners histogram and the Webull's market screen, so this is the market screen, the online browser version of Webull. See advancers and decliners is pretty evenly split, pretty small advances and decliners, so pretty well balanced, quite a few with no change. We look at the net inflow. As the past several weeks, we're seeing an inflow in New York Stock Exchange, NYSE, significant outflow out of technology, out of the NASDAQ. So we've seen this now for several weeks. So we would expect, a similar trend to continue out of tech, into industrials, into the NYSE, out of the NASDAQ. Again, you can see a near-term earnings calendar here in the calendar section. Hit earnings. You can also see dividends and splits, and you can see what's upcoming in the very near term, whether it's after market close, before market open. So again, you can see who's coming, and as that might impact, your trading, who's reporting in the near term. Look at the best performing industries for the week. So we see coal very positive, oil, so energy pretty positive, consumer goods, uranium very positive, consumer goods kind of split, healthcare split, retail kind of split, aerospace not pretty flat, utilities been pretty flat, and retailers pretty flat. REITs, again, real estate's been, pretty flat. Again, energy, oil and natural gas. Look at the ETFs, look at the market ETFs. So short China, again, there was some, negative deflationary news out of China. So short China. Ultra short emerging markets, short the Qs. So Dow up, S&P down, small caps down, short the VIX, short euro, dollar bullish, so positive on the dollar. This is showing positive on the Russell, positive small cap, so positive trend in the Russell and small cap, so it's possible rotation out of mega cap tech, possibly into some small caps. Again, short China, short Europe, bear on S&P, short mid cap, short small cap. So industrials, positive uranium, energy. Industrials kind of split, healthcare slightly positive, communication very negative, energy positive. Here utilities, small cap utilities positive, again very negative in technology. Basic materials, the positive on uranium, natural gas. Consumer cyclicals generally negative, but defensives positive, food and beverage positive, staples, so again defensive. Real estate here is somewhat positive. And financial services somewhat positive. When we saw that downgrade on several regional banks, the Regional bank ETFs, very negative. We have some ETFs, and we have a video on how to trade, the financials, and you can see that. We'll reference that at some point. Yeah, Walter Lyons is pointing out the issue with the China real estate. There's this other one, Country Garden, in trouble. Again, another large real estate company in China. Again, that's having an impact on some of your construction commodities, etc. So commodities, got carbon offsets, gas, bonds, got Asia positive, 3 to 7's positive, inflation positive. British pound and Swiss franc slightly positive. All the others are negative, and we'll see that in the futures as well. So let's look at the futures in FinBiz. Okay, again, we can see, all the indices peaked, rolled over, trending down. So all of them, that are Dow's a little more stable, a little flatter. But again, S&P, NASDAQ, Russell, all trending down. We see that little bit of a pop back up in the Russell. So maybe it's trying to make a slight reversal. The Nikkei's been pretty flat lately. Looks like it's forming a bottom. The Euro stocks had significant drop down. Now it's kind of chopping sideways. We've talked about a variety of ways to play some of the emerging markets, some of the foreign markets in the past couple of weeks. So I would recommend you refer back to those. We have several individual videos on how to trade the Nikkei, Euro stocks, DAX, etc. For shorter term trading opportunities. Again, that big drop may present a short term trading opportunity for scalps, day trades, etc. So see the VIX again spiked up briefly over 18, didn't hold, declines pretty quickly. It does look like it's trying to establish a bottom around 16 or so. If it regains the 16, then maybe we'll see a trend from 16 to 18. Again, oil up over 80. 80 is a pretty support level. So now it's bouncing, a little above 83. Natural gas, again, you see it briefly spike to 3. Now looks like it's trying to establish support around 275. The previous range was about 250 to 3. So now maybe 275 to 3. But, it's got to get some momentum to break up through 3. Good morning, EC Mike. Thank you for joining us. Glad to see you. Again, gold broke down slightly below 1950. 1950 is a pretty good support level. We'll see if it regains that 1950. Now it'll be a little bit of resistance, but then 1950 to 2000. Silver broke down. I think part of that's industrial metal related, and not so much the lagging between silver and gold. I think there's an opportunity here if it can regain the 23. So now 23 is acting somewhat as resistance, but it looks like it's trying to regain 23, and then maybe we'll see a turn back up. Again, I think there's a opportunity there, again, for short-term day trading, shorter-term swings, and we'll look at some ETFs if we have time on how to possibly take advantage of the volatility in silver. Palladium bottomed and bounced. Platinum similarly bottomed and bounced. Again, there's short-term ways you can trade those using our ETFs or individual stocks. Copper downtrending. Again, this is partially due to the negative China news. Some of the agricultural commodities have been trending down, corn, wheat, etc. So even despite the issues with Ukraine, Russia, etc., wheat's been downtrending. Looks like it might be establishing support level, but we'll see. Lumber's been downtrending. Then we see the volatility in the bonds, so they ran up. We saw the yields are now up in the fours, low fours. So when yields go up, prices go down. So we saw that, decrease down in the bond prices. And again, the strengthening of the dollar. So again, on some of the economic data we talked about, we saw, a little bit of a surgence in the bond yields, a little bit of strengthening of the dollar, so weakening in the euro, Japanese yen. Again, they're loosening their bond yield restrictions, and Japanese yen weakens significantly. We're going to talk, Easy Mike asked to talk a little bit more about bonds and foreign currencies, so hopefully we'll be able to get to some additional discussions on bonds and foreign currencies in a few minutes. And yeah, Easy Mike says the 30-year spike drives home builders lower. And yeah, we were talking about that. We looked at mortgage rates now up above 7%. We've also got some of the new home economic data coming out this week. So we may see some, although I believe it's July data, so it's a little lagging. But we may see some reaction to that data in the home builders. Oh, they've been pretty strong. I did also hear that some of the home builders are buying down the mortgage rates to make new homes more affordable. I'm going to come back to ETFs in general in a few minutes. I want to get to our general strategies and themes. Let me grab a drink a second, and we'll talk about, are we seeing a back to school sale in the stock market, and how might we take advantage of that kind of back to school sale in the stock market. Okay. Yep. Flip of the ship, it says time to pull out the old shopping list. Yep. And that's one of the points that we wanted to start with, is if we are seeing or going to get a back to school sale in the stock market. Normally we talk about our list of shopping list stocks in part 2. But I want to bring that forward, because if we are seeing a back to school sale in the stock market, we want to have our shopping list ready. The shopping lists are stocks we always want to buy given the opportunity. So we talked about, a negative reaction to earnings. We're seeing the downtrending in the market. Now, again, we'll talk about seasonality again in a minute. But the trend for August, September is generally down. So this may be the opportunity to pick up stocks that you wanted to buy. So have your shopping list ready. Along those lines, a couple ways to find, stocks on sale in the stock market. We have a couple videos about how to find cheap value stocks, also how to find cheap profitable stocks. And let me bring up the ETF spreadsheet so I can show you those screeners. Just a quick reminder, you can get access to this ETF spreadsheet, including all of these screeners that I'm going to show you, by joining our Patreon at the all access or VIP levels. So again, if you join our Patreon, help support our channel as well as get access to our ETF spreadsheet, our dividend payers, our puts ROIC spreadsheets, 24/7. And part of that spreadsheet is a set of screeners that I've started to look at in the screeners tab. So if you go to the screeners tab, we'll look at the technology components in a second when we get to the ETF section. But I've also started looking at these that I use to find cheap and profitable and value stocks in the market. And these are a number of screeners in FinBiz, so you can just click on the link. It'll take you right to that screener with the criteria set, and then you can refine that criteria down. And again, we talk about that in more detail in several of these videos. So again, it will help you build your shopping list, help you cull your shopping list by finding cheap value and cheap profitable stocks using these screeners. Again, we have several, whether they're 90% below their 52-week high, whether they're down 75% for the year, if they're within 3% from their low. And we'll talk about some of the others as well. So again, recommend prepare for a back-to-school sale in the stock market, get your shopping list ready, but you want to find value stocks, profitable stocks. Just like any retailer, the stock market has a tendency to, mark the prices way up and then put them on sale and mark it down, and it might look like a deal, but really, it might not be an actual good deal. They just mark the price way up, and then they say, "Oh, look, it's 50% off. Buy now," and it's still not a good deal because it's not a value, or they're not profitable. Along the lines of profitability, we recommend staying away from zombie stocks, zombie companies, those that are barely able to service their debt. We still got increasing interest rates. We've got additional pressure put on credit. Credit's becoming even less available. So these zombie stocks, zombie companies are going to be under additional pressure. So, go through your shopping list. Identify value stocks that are on sale due to back to school sale, and then make sure that it's actually a good value at the price currently available. So again, we talked about the seasonality. We've got several videos about the seasonality, how to make money trading in August, how the market typically performs in August, and what are the best performing sectors and industries. So you can reference those videos via the links in our notes. Also in the how to trade the summer stock market doldrums. In general, the stock, the how to trade in the summer, how the market performs in the summer. Again, August tends to be a slightly down month, September more so down, and then we get a rebound in October. So again, good time, if you get a good deal on a stock that you wanted to buy and hold, at least for some period of time anyway. August, September, time to buy, and then hopefully we'll see that historical rebound in October, November, December. So I may defer. We'll see if we have time to go back to our ETFs in general and look at the technology components. But I believe, if I caught this right, and Easy Mike, please correct me if I missed the point, but I believe you were asking to discuss interest rates and foreign currencies, Forex, this weekend. So I tried to identify some resources so we can talk about rates, foreign currencies, bonds, etc. So please give me your feedback if you're looking for something else. We do have a video, and you can access this video via the bonus link in the notes. It talks about the ETFs to trade U.S. Treasuries. I see Easy Mike is talking about TBTs, one of the short Treasury short treasuries that we've talked about. We've talked about TLT, TMF, TMB. You can find all of those in our ETF spreadsheet and see and take advantage of the opportunities there. Again, you can listen to that in more detail via the bonus link in the notes. A couple new resources. So again, I did a little bit of research and I found this site that I thought was helpful. I'll probably try to post this in our Discord somewhere. I don't know if we'll put it in bonds or somewhere appropriate. But here's a summary of the central bank rates. So at the different countries, and what we're hearing is, the different countries raising their rates, at different rates. So we recently heard Brazil cut their rate, and so we saw a bounce in the Brazil market. So I think it's EWZ, if I got that one right. We've got a video on how to trade Brazil, how to trade several of the other emerging markets. So if they're cutting, that's positive for that market. So BOE is raising, Canada is raising, etc. So that affects both their currency and their market. So those that are on hold, whether they're on hold, whether they're raising, whether they're cutting, you can see both their current rate as well as the direction and when the last change was made via. So here's the Japanese interest rates, negative, and it went down. Mexico, again, high and went up. So again, we've got several videos of how to trade these various markets using ETFs. So again, I hope that this site will help see the relative rates, the potential impact on their currencies and their markets. So let me know if this resource is helpful, and also if you have any other resources that you'd like to see for in terms of interest rates, bonds, etc. Another resource, there's several resources on investing.com. Grab a quick drink a second. We'll look at those. Okay, firstly, I wanted to show you some of the bond resources. Let me zoom this in a bit. So if you go to investing.com, and we also have links, there's a link in the notes. You can also find links to investing.com, other tools and resources on our homepage, beachbumtrading.com, bum without the U. So again, quick reference to all the resources we use, etc. So there you can find the link to investing.com. You can also find links to an invite to our Discord, our Facebook group, our Reddit community, all of our social media sites, etc. So under markets, if you go to bonds, you can see world government bonds. So you can see the various rates offered by various countries. You can also hone in on a particular country. So if we wanted to look at just, U.S. bonds, we could see the rates, the recent changes. So here's the yield curve. And again, you can see the various rates for the various durations of U.S. Treasury bonds. Again, I don't currently trade or buy U.S. Treasury bonds. So someone with more experience, some knowledge of how to best trade bonds. We have a channel in our Discord for that asset class. So I'd love to have someone with, experience trading bonds help us and join the Discord. You can talk about what's the best way to trade bonds. If there's other resources to track the interest rates on bonds, how best to do that. That would be very helpful. Again, let me know if this resource is helpful. Again, Easy Mike also asked to talk about foreign currencies, so you can see on investing.com, you can find currency rates, exchange rates, etc. for number of foreign currencies. Again, I don't currently trade Forex, foreign currencies, but again, you can get the data on the various foreign currency pairs, so we can see the U.S. against the yen, against the pound. Pound went up. U.S. against the yen went up. U.S. against the Swiss franc went up. U.S. against the Canadian dollar down. Again, all the various foreign currency pairs. So again, if you're a Forex trader, this may be one resource that may help you as well. They also have the cryptocurrency pairs as well in that table. And again, we also have a Forex channel in our Discord. So again, if you're a Forex trader, you'd like to talk to other Forex traders, if you have knowledge in those areas, I'd encourage you to post in our Forex channel in our Discord. Again, this is not an area that I have any experience trading in at this time. So again, we'd love to have some, experts, some experienced traders helping other traders in our Discord. So Easy Mike, I hope that addresses the question that you asked, the discussion topics. If I missed anything or if I missed the point, please let me know in the chat. Also, we can continue this discussion in subsequent weekly trading game plans. If you have any other resources, again, please post them in our Discord. That would be very helpful. So again, let me know if I covered your discussion topics appropriately. Got a couple minutes. Let's go through our ETF spreadsheet. So if anyone has any other categories that you'd like to look at, indices, categories, commodities, etc., in our ETF spreadsheet, we can take a quick look at those. I want to look at the technology components. Again, another one of the screeners that we have in the screeners tab is a breakdown of the technology components. So we've got the FANGs, we've got biotech, LabU, we've got the semiconductors, and we've got the general NASDAQ. These, again, are all the long leveraged ETFs. They'll show us the general direction. So again, we see the FANGs broke down below the moving average, downtrending. Again, I think there's profit taking out of here. I would not be surprised to see, kind of a flight to safety, buy back into the FANGs. So we'll keep an eye and see where that bottoms. But again, they've been using the FANGs as kind of a flight to safety. That's your Facebook, Netscape, and it's also Microsoft, Google, Apple. Apple's been taking, pretty significant decline. See a little bit of a bounce in biotech, and that's why I wanted to bring this up, is we've seen, this steady decline in biotech. If that bottoms, we might be interested in playing that bounce in biotech. But again, right now the general trend is down. We see that significant breakdown in semiconductors. Again, I expect that to continue until maybe the NVIDIA report, which again we heard is until the 23rd. So, downtrend in semiconductors, again, general downtrend in the NASDAQ, and it's broke down below its moving average as well. So technology, generally downtrending, and it'll take, some change in sentiment, maybe the AI hype coming out of the NVIDIA conference call. But again, that's not till the end of the month. So again, you can see LabU, LabD. So we can see LabU's, it's not really at a bottom yet. It's not at 52-week low, but if it gets there, that might be interesting. See the China's. Again, China's been volatile. We've talked about that. Yin and yang for day trading, short-term trading. Again, we're watching, MJ with cannabis sector. Again, we've got several emerging markets. We've talked about those. Talked about gold. I saw GDXU is perking up, so it's moving up on Friday. That's kind of our preferred short-term trading in gold. Similarly in silver. AGQ for a long. So again, possible opportunity, short-term swings, long AGQ, short ZSL for silver. Again, these are more day trade, short-term trades. Again, we talked about semiconductors downtrending right now. Oil, again, oil's been running, so, Gush is the long, Drip is the short, or UCO long, SCO short, again, day trading, short-term trading. Talked about palladium and platinum, had bottomed and bounced. The other day I saw IPI, which is potash, said it was moving up, but you see it's kind of in the middle of its range, so. Again, we've talked about a lot of the emerging markets. We've been talking about the treasuries. Here's TBT, TLT, TMV is the bear, the short, TMF is the long. So again, right now, treasuries, bonds have been volatile, so you can use the appropriate ETFs to trade those. So again, we have a video that talks about all of those as well. So I hope that helps. So if you have any other questions, comments, etc., if I missed your question, I apologize. You can throw it back up in the chat real quickly. And again, otherwise, you can always ask us questions in our Discord. Just tag us when you ask your questions so that we can get notified. For BeachBum Trading, all lowercase, no pounds, numbers, other characters. Anyone else is an imposter. So, and again, we have a Facebook group, Reddit community, etc. So many ways to contact us. All of our other social media sites, again, you can find on our homepage, beachbumtrading.com, bum without the U. So let us know if you'd have a topic you'd like us to discuss, or in further detail, videos you'd like us to make, suggestions for improvement. We always welcome your feedback. Let us know, how can we add more value for all of our BeachBum traders. Again, we appreciate the feedback and the input. So I hope this all helps, and I hope you all will come back again tomorrow, 10 a.m. on Sunday Eastern Time for part 2 of our weekly trading game plan for August 14th through August 18th. And we'll be selecting our top swing trading stocks to watch, stocks in our bullpen. We might go into more detail about shopping lists. We talked about that quite a bit today. And then also additional strategies and trade ideas for making money trading and hopefully helping you succeed in your trading career for the week of August 14th and through August 18th and going forward. So thank you for everyone that joined us, and have a great rest of your day. And hopefully we'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you.